So, I'm gonna do like another meta update. Okay, let's use purple. So meta. Let's make this start again. I just want make sure I know my. So meta update again. Okay, so where we were like last time with the previous one is I basically said that Ball, Zarya, Tracer, Echo, Mercy, Zen is probably the best comp, right? There are in some enclosed maps you're probably going to see Brawl in right, so like in enclosed maps you're gonna see Brawl. On some long maps, right, you might see some swaps where you get like Sigma in, or maybe Diva, right? On like high ground, you might see, you know, BAP instead of Zen. So that's sort of what we talked about, right? But I started the biggest reason why I thought double bubble was bad or like wasn't good enough was two things. Okay. So let's clear this. When I looked at double bubble, there are two main things that I was like, you know, convinced that like I was like, it's just not gonna work. The first thing was I thought Winston would just die. How would he die? Well, I thought that the poke from a Discord, an Echo, Tracer would be enough to be able to like force out a Winston. The second thing I thought with double bubble is that a Ball, Tracer, Echo, Discord, engage. This is an engage. Would kill the backline. Or just kill something. It would be able to get value. So when I played a team, I found out both these things can be prevented. But for them to be prevented, you need to have a very, 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 very good team who uses CDs very well. The reason why that I wasn't able to figure this out is because all the teams that I played hint like trials, like, you know, contenders-ish, right? With this comp, right? With this comp, it like they would essentially like this comp would beat double bubble because the CDs that was used by the double bubble team was wrong. The positioning could have been better. Like they weren't playing the comp properly, like, at the highest level, right? So what I'm getting at is double bubble. It can be really good. It could be like insanely good. But the skill cap, in my opinion, from where you have to actually learn and understand how to play it, is really high. And I'll talk about why in a second. Why is the skill cap so high? Okay. So the other thing also is this comp isn't necessarily dead. This comp isn't like terrible. This comp isn't bad. Right? It's not bad. No. Like you can adapt it to deal with this. You can say get rid of Zen. And I'll talk about why in a second. You can get Ana. You can go instead of maybe Echo, you get an Ashe and you go more poke. Right? You can keep the Echo maybe and like still poke, and I think that's also pretty good too. Right? But you have to change the play style. Your play style needs to adapt. Instead of playing to hit hard, because you can't kill if you hit hard, right? You need to be more open. You need to be more of, if I see an opportunity to hit hard and get a kill, sure, as Ball, I'm going to go for it. Otherwise, I'm going to look to poke and look to try and like pressure the Winston out and try and find opportunities. So it has to be a play style change. Okay. So again, this comp isn't terrible, but it needs to be, you know, adapted a bit. Okay. So the first thing I'll say is why Ana. The reason why Ana is a bit easier is because if the enemy team, if the enemy team plays double bubble really well, what'll end up happening is the enemy Winston or Echo or Winston Tracer or Aegis Tracer will just go on your Zen and kill your Zen. And because you can't physically kill something if they play it well, their backline, then you can't trade. So that becomes a problem. So you need to inherently play slower. right? And again, the one problem I had with this comp really early on is this. Like, I very much dislike this synergy. I hate that, like, Zarya's Zen synergy. It's, like, really bad, right? Like, Zen goes really well with, like, you know, Tracer, and you play more for DPS, sure. But if you can't, like, kill things, then you need to, like, rearrange how you approach it and play to go, like, slower and play more for, like, your mid fight and look to push and play second, okay? So, now, so that's why we're going Ana, okay? That's why we're swapping to, like, you know, instead of a hit play hard play style, because we can't kill anything, right? We play slower. We look to poke them out with this comp. Now, why double bubble, like, can work, right? So if we look over here, we'll sort of, whoops. Like I said, so Winston would have just died. Well, why doesn't Winston just die? Now, the double bubble comp is this. It is Winston, D.Va, Tracer, Echo, Brig, Ana. Okay? So why can't Winston just die? Well, if the enemy team hard pressures Winston, what ends up happening is the Echo, right, will kill the Mercy Echo. Because if the Echo commits with, like, shift and beam, the enemy, like, the double bubble Echo, right, will then shift and then kill the Echo. Even though this Echo only has break packs, this Echo, as long as this Echo positions well, right, this Echo will be able to get that value. The other thing is Winston needs to understand how to position also well, right? The reason why, again, I got worried about this comp, and I'll actually add it to here, number 3, is I legitimately thought that, like, position-wise, right, Echo would struggle. Because Echo doesn't have a Mercy pocket. You're playing a team that has an Echo that has a Mercy pocket. Your Echo doesn't have a Mercy pocket. Your Echo can just die. So if you don't position Echo, if you don't play Echo perfectly or position, like, correctly, right, then, oh, whoops. Thank you. Sorry, yeah. It's been a long day. I'm like 6 hours into streaming. Sorry. But if you don't position well as Echo, then, you know, it can be really rough. So again, we'll move more into this, right? So Winston should just die, but if the enemy team puts a lot of resources into trying to kill Winston, right, like Echo Mercy goes, then the enemy Echo can push the ball Tracer Echo, right? More than that, if you think about trying to punish Winston, Winston at the start of fights has an Ana pocket. Ana is just hard pocketing Winston, so Winston lives. On top of that, Winston also has a Zarya bubble. So if the Echo commits with, like, CDs and like shifts in and beams, he can just get Zarya bubbled, and all of a sudden that hit just goes away from one CD, right? So, and then Winston on top of that also has his own bubble. So there's ways to, like, peel Winston really well, but it has to be coordinated, and Winston has to position well. So this is how Winston doesn't die, right? And I'll give you examples maybe in a minute, like proper examples with, like, stuff. Let me actually just show you, like, a really good example right now. Nope, that's not what I want. As you guys can see, I definitely play Genshin. It's my break game. Okay, let's look at, like, Hanamura. It's like a very, like, annoying Winston map. So here, right? Here. Epic pen for here. Let's hope you don't bug. Okay, cool. So here, if Winston, like, positions right over here, and let's say, like, there's the door right over here, right? If Winston positions on the side, the enemy team, to deal with this Winston, has to, like, go all the way through, or, like, try and get an angle. And if they try and get an angle, right, like, you've got an Echo following up, right? You've got Ana that can shoot the Echo. You know, there's a Tracer that can mark the ball if someone tries to get in here. Ball Tracer tries to get in here, the Tracer can mark, right? So, like, it's very hard to deal with, like, pressure that Winston out because of, like, the angle that Winston's in. Like, for example, another example, we can look at Hollywood. Like, so Hollywood, if you, okay, here we go. So, like, another example is, like, if Winston plays, like, right over here, right? Again, if the enemy team has to, like, turn and get in, when they turn and get in, right, there could be people on juice. There could be a Tracer on this right side. Like, immediately, like, when they try and pressure that Winston out based off his positioning, the double bubble team can pressure the enemy team. Winston can get Zarya bubble, so he still sustains. He pressures them. He still has Winston bubble on top of that. And then if needed, he can just jump out, right? So, you know, he's able to live for quite a while and get value. Okay. But again, you have to realize all of this is like very based off good positioning, good CD usage, right? Good setups. So it's like very like meticulous in terms of like how you play this comp. It's not like, oh, I can just run this comp and just, you know, go aggro and just kill something. No, you can't do that. Like it's really hard. Okay. The second one, right? The ball tracer echo discord engage, trying to kill backline. So at a really high level, right? If you look at this composition, you can't kill the backline if you peel correctly. So what I mean by that is you have Onanade, you have Pax, you have Inspire, you have Bubbles. Hell, if your Winston wanted to do it, your Winston can also peel with the Winston bubble too. But your Winston really shouldn't. And I'll say why in a second, right? Shouldn't have to. Your Echo could also peel. Now, if you think about this, if you nade, so what should happen is your Zarya, Brig, Ana should like be together. Your Echo is like sort of close, so it can peel with the beam if they commit, and you can punish. But what happens is your Ana will nade everyone, okay? Your Brig will pack the Ana, okay? Your Zarya will bubble the Brig. I'll try to use different colors here. Why Brig? Because Brig can't pack herself, right? So you want to make sure Brig lives. Again, I'll try and use different colors here. Ana will nade like everyone. It's okay. I'm not gonna go with this, but Ana will like. Oh, we shouldn't do this. Brig will pack 2 people. Ana will nade both people, right? Zarya will bubble Brig, okay? And like that's like a very hard to deal with, right? Like it's very hard to kill. On top of that, right? Brig will also be able to flail the ball away or stun the ball. If you flail the ball can't even hit. If the ball doesn't hit, then how the hell is an Echo, you know, tracer supposed to get that value if the ball doesn't hit? It's even harder, right? So if you position your backline in a really good spot where you can essentially make it hell for a ball to hit, then it makes it even harder for the ball echo comp or tracer echo comp to work. The ball tracer echo comp. And I'll give you an example. So some of you might remember. Oh, whoops! I put it there. Okay, some of you might remember a while ago I talked about a concept. Here we go. It's a cool one. So some of you might remember I talked about a concept of prevent, absorb, engage. And that's exactly what applies to like this composition in the backline, right? When you've got the Brig, you've got the Ana, you've got the Zarya, right? What you want to try and do is prevent the ball from coming in. If you can position so you can prevent the ball from coming in, then they can't hit. If they can't hit, then you can take spaces Zarya and just brawl and just be aggressive, because Zarya will get charged because Zarya projected bubbled, either peeled somebody or projected bubbled maybe, your Winston when he was taking space, so you got some charge. Hell, your Zarya could, bubble Tracer start really early. Tracer could triple blink in, get a whole bunch of charge, and then like recall, and your Zarya will probably get bubble again before the fight starts, maybe, right? It's a cool strategy. But the concept here is you want to be able to do this. To be able to do this, you position in smart areas. So for example, this area is very smart. Why? There is distance from angles, right? So you can see when a ball approaches. If a ball comes at you, your Brig can just flail the ball, or your Brig can 100% stun the ball. Your Ana can sleep the ball, right? So it makes it hard for the ball to even come in, right? So the 4 key concepts here are: you want distance from angles, you want good LOS so you can see everything, you want a corner so you can stabilize, and then you also want good rotations so you can push when you need to, right? And like that's sort of this concept, and you guys saw this concept a long time ago, like in like the previous meta, if anyone watched my streams. So if you set up your backline like that, and the enemy team hits, and you like correctly peel for each other, and you like if for some reason preventing doesn't work, you're not able to flail the ball, you not prevent the ball, but you absorb and you peel for each other, you live, right? Then you just take space and you just win. Because your front line is gonna be, your backline is gonna be so much stronger than theirs, because you've got an Ana pocketing a Zarya, so your Zarya is really strong, plus you have a Brig. So your front line just rolls theirs. Like absolutely. Right? Okay. Let's clear that. So I sort of lost what's happening here. So this is sort of, that was the number 2, right? That was the number 2 of like, we thought that this would be able to kill the backline, but like it actually physically can't. Right? And the last thing is the positioning. Echo would struggle. Well, actually, the enemy Echo, right? So the ball tracer Echo, this Echo, right, with Mercy Pocket. This Mercy Echo has to do a lot of stuff. This Mercy Echo has to be able to pressure the enemy Winston and also be able to hit. And the problem is this Mercy Echo is going to take a lot of pressure. From who? I am like mixing up Epic Pet in this thing, but it's all good. From who? Well, the Ana is going to be able to pressure the Echo, right? For sure. The Ana can, heal the Winston at the start of fight. Mid-fight will heal Zarya more. But while it's happening, the Ana can also, like shoot the Echo here and there, right? But also on top of that, right, what's going to end up happening is the Winston plus Tracer might go on the enemy Zen or Ana. And as soon as that happens, what happens? Well, the Echo from the ball tracer, Mercy Echo, this Echo right over here will lose its Mercy Pocket. This Mercy Pocket will have to go peel, right? For the double bubbles Winston Tracer or Winston's Echo. And as soon as that happens, right? Then the double bubbles Echo who has break packs can just push that Echo and kill the Echo. Right? So you're able to like sort of like navigate and like force the Mercy Echo to not be able to do much. Like you're sort of like forcing the Mercy Echo to like try and do a lot of things at once, but like it's just not feasibly possible, right? And then if you think about it also, again, I sort of messed this up a little bit, but I'll make a bit more space here. If you think about it also, right? Like with double bubble, you still have a tracer left, right? If the tracer wants, the tracer can go on like the enemy backline. But the tracer can also match sort of and prevent like the enemy ball plus tracer. I'm not saying for you to win it, but just sort of match and prevent a little bit, right? And like that's also a way you can go about it. But that's really passive and like not really that great. Like if your backline's dying, you could do this and maybe your backline will live and then you can push forward and win, right? But in general, like pushing that backline, forcing the Mercy to peel, then giving your Echo an advantage because your Echo has packs, their Mercy doesn't have anything, it's really good. And obviously, yes, they might have discords, but even still, right, it's still very, very, very difficult. So now if you think about this total thing, right, I'm going to clear this. I know I messed up here. But if you think about the total, like, okay, well, this all sounds great and all. Like, this should totally work. And yes, it should. But the problem, and why I think this comp won't, like, be very feasible, at least for, in my opinion, like, 1 week, is because this is tough to learn. For this to learn, your Winston needs to understand how to position, understand how to engage properly, right? Needs to understand sort of honestly what his limitations are. On top of that, your Echo needs to simply put, not feed. Your Echo needs to be very passive and live, because the enemy Echo could just literally like push you with the Mercy Pocket and you could be discorded, you could just die. So your Echo, your Echo on your double bubble team needs to not feed and position again, very, very smart. Like very like way so like in like a position where environments around you, you can peel if needed, you can get packs, right? The enemy Echo can't harm you, so you need to be very passive and live. And then on top of that, right, your backline needs to have very good CD usage, like to help each other. And then on top of that, right, they need to position also well, so that they're not caught out, right, and just die. So I hope you see that like these 3 things here, in all practicality, is actually really hard for most, like, in my opinion, like tier 3, lower than tier 3, not even say some tier 2 players. Like, in coaching in this like region, in my opinion, in NA, it'll take you roughly like a week for players to like actually like understand their role and understand how to play it correctly. But once you do and you can like actually do this properly, like you will survive like the enemy team's hits, and then when you survive their hits, then you just push forward and you just win with a high charge Zarya. Like another thing too is like, and I'll sort of just put it out here, is just straight up CDs. You'd be very smart with your CDs. you can't just use nade whenever you want to. You can't just use bubbles, Zari bubbles whenever you want to. If you use bubbles whenever you want to, the enemy team can just kill your backline, right? You might need to like understand, okay, the ball's looking to hit. I need to save my projected bubble to peel for my brig, right? I need to save my own bubble too, because if that echo comes in and shifts in, I need to bubble myself so I don't die to the stickies in the echo beam with the mercy pocket, right? So like, it's tricky, right? Like you have to get these CDs down and time everything correctly. And maybe again I'll do another VOD review and like with like actual like better examples. But I want to give like everyone like an update of like what I found out. Right? This is why Korea is playing this comp. Like everyone's telling me like, oh, Korea's playing this comp. Korea's like, why are they playing this comp? Like it's so good. Like it must be good. People in Korea are playing it, right? Although right now Korea is better at playing slow. They're also better at straight up understanding meta and understanding how to play their role. Like there's no doubt about that. They're better at playing slow. They understand their role. Like they honestly don't need real coaches all the time to tell them how to play. Like coaches just help them, unify and get better as a team and synergy and all that stuff. So they're able to play this because they just understand it at a higher level. At A, the coaches are going to have to teach the players. The players are going to have to really learn, and that's going to take time, right? It's going to take synergy. It's not going to be like super easy, right? And yes, it is almost like playing second, right? And obviously you can still play first with this comp. You can just like hold close and you can rally and just like run into them. You could grab pulse, right? You could grab nade and like kill things. You can still play first, but yeah. And in terms of how do you play it like into double bubble, like sure, like again at the very start, I talked about how the ball comp, you can swap the ball comp and play not like hyper aggro. You could play super slow, right, with the ball comp and like look to poke, right? If you play super slow with that ball comp and like just poke, right, it becomes incredibly hard for double bubble to do anything. The double bubble will want to look to like it'll look to peel sort of, but then the backline from double bubble with like the brig Ana Zari will have to take space. And that's like difficult because they don't have a Lucio, so they have to walk a lot, right? But if the ball comp sort of looks to displace and looks to poke and get a lot of value to angles and get some more value to the poke, and they could win, right? So, and yes, someone said there's a possibility of building Nano too, and yes, absolutely, you could just play to build Nano. Okay, so this is sort of like a brief introduction into double bubble, like why I think it's good and why it's definitely has a place in the meta. And again, I'll put this like right over here. Like I personally, like talking to a lot of people, I don't think the meta is defined. Is the meta defined right now? No, it's not. It's definitely not. The amount of scrims I've been in, like top tier scrims, where people legitimately are just like, oh, they're running brawl. Okay, let's just swap mercy, or let's just swap this, and like let's swap this off tank to like make it better. It feels like there's just so many like swaps happening to deal with other compositions or like playstyle swaps that like no one fully sure knows like what the best thing is, right? So it's definitely not defined yet, but like both these comps, like in my opinion, like definitely feel, or like variations of them, emphasis on variations of like double bubble, right? And like what do you call it? The ball tracer echo thing feel very, very strong. And obviously brawl in enclosed areas is always going to be good. I'm even hearing sometimes that like some people are running this comp, some type of, I think it's like ball, some off tank, Hanzo, Echo, Mercy, Zen. But like to me, this comp should die to like a ball tracer. But I'm scrimmed against it. But like I don't think this should get value. I think to me this feels like a very mechanically like excessive comp, and like if your mechanics are good enough, you can get value. But like compositionally macro wise doesn't make a lot of sense, at least to me. But these are like the three comps right now. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of variations. Let's play swap chess. Yes, I don't think it's fully rock paper scissors yet, but we'll have to see. Okay, so this is sort of like a update.